Bum ba da dum. Want to hear a lick? That was a lick. An A lick. Never mind, stupid joke. Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. This is your home for listening to stupid jokes or to learn how to play the banjo, the mandolin, or the guitar. We're starting a 3-week series on Devil's Dream. Now, that's one of the most popular fiddle tunes of all time. And even though I have a fiddle hanging on the wall, I'm quite embarrassed to play in public. So I had a good buddy of mine, Mr. John Johnson, good old Southern Louisiana boy. We all call him Chank. I had him come in and play fiddle for me on that. He's got a little bit of experience. He's out with some group right now. They're trying to make it called Rascal Platts or Rascal Flats. I don't know. Maybe they'll do okay. And he played for some other gal named Leanne Womack, and I don't know. He's been around. Anyway, he's pretty good. He's a super guy, which is what's important. But anyway, Devil's Dream. Today we're going to learn the mandolin version of it. And if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, in a little while I'll ask you to jump on over to my site where you can see the full 30-minute video lesson that we have for this. I'm going to show you how to play every measure, and then I'm going to play it all the way through for you very slowly so you can follow along with the tab on the screen. And then I have 4 different actual rhythm guitar tracks that I play at 4 different speeds, so you can practice along with me. You can also go to the site, and as a Gold Pick member or Lifetime member, you can download this PDF tabs for it, or I have the TEF files as well. We do this every week here. I like it. I think a lot of you do too. I sure appreciate your support. Devil's Dream, it's got an A part and a B part like your typical fiddle tune, okay? So what I've done, I'm trying to appeal to both the beginner players and the intermediate, more advanced players. So the first half of that A part, I do very straight ahead melody, okay? So anybody can learn it. Then on the second half, I get out of the lines a little bit and play up the neck a little bit, okay? So if you're a beginner and you just want to learn how to play Devil's Dream, you can just take that first half of the A part and I'll explain it. Play it twice and you're good to go in a jam situation. Same way for the B part. Let's dive in right now. Measure 1, Devil's Dream. Okay, in the performance, I didn't start it out with the mandolin, but in each of the 3 instruments that I'm going to teach, banjo, guitar, and mandolin, I'm going to give you an intro, and I'm also going to give you an ending, even though in the performance we had the fiddle do both of those. So we want to start there in measure 1, and this is just kind of a little kickoff. Be sure and pay attention to the pick stroke directions, which are written beneath the notes there. The down arrow means a down pick stroke. Up means up. And we're going to start off sliding on the D string from the 6th to the 7th fret while we pick through those first 3 strings. So you hear that little slide sound. There you go. And that's all that we're doing for the intro. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now some people have written me and said that they have a hard time not hitting all the strings and maybe getting that low G string in there when they do that. And truthfully, I have a problem with that too sometimes. So I naturally will mute this G string with my top of my ring finger, and then maybe even reach over with my thumb and cover the other G string. And it's kind of a cheat, but I can go through all the strings without a problem. And then we're going to, in measure 2, for beats 2 and 3 and 4, we're just going to walk up into the melody on the E string. And the way that Devil's Dream is set up, it's a standard fiddle tune. Okay, we have an A part and a B part. And I really look at that as having two smaller A parts and 2 bigger B parts, or 2 smaller B parts. You put them together, they're 8 measures a piece. And so the way that I've written this is that the first 8 measures of the A part is very standard, very close to melody, something that a beginner could learn. And then the second time through the A part, we stretch a little bit. We do some harder stuff. We get up the neck. And that's something that you more intermediate and advanced players can learn as well. If you just want to play that first little A part there, starting measure 3, and use that for this song, that's fine. You can just play it 2 times in a row and then go on to the B part. And I've done the B part in the same way. First half through the first 8 measures of the B part, very standard, following the melody. Second half, we stretch out just a little bit. So you can take either of those halves and play them twice in a row. And it gives you a lot of flexibility in your arrangements. But the standard melody of this song, of Devil's Dream, starting there in measure 3, we've got a bunch of 8th notes in a row and a little pattern developing with the 5th, the 4th, and the 5th frets. Sounds like this. Okay, that's measure 3. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Then one more time, measure 4. 1 and 2 and then we're going to go to the 2nd fret for the second half of measure 4. 1, 3 and 4 and. I like to count when I play. It helps me keep up with where I am. So measure 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now measure 5 is a little bit of a stretch. It's probably the hardest part of the song, and that's because we're going to need to bar the 2nd frets of both the A and the E strings with our index finger. Now some people want to try to bar it straight down like you're playing a guitar bar chord. That to me is not very easy to do. So I will tend to kind of almost point my finger back up towards my neck and press down both of those strings. It's still kind of tough to get it there, but we're going to start off with our ring finger on the 5th fret of the A string, but we need to already have that barred in the background because we're going to be pulling that off, okay? So I kind of use that fleshy part of my index finger and just press it over those 2 strings. So measure 5 sounds like this. See how we do that? And going into measure 6, we're just going to go right back to the 5th fret, working our way back up to what we heard before. Good. So we're through the first half of the first little A part. Okay, so then we're in measure 7, we're going to see a repeat of what we saw in measure 3. 2 and 3 and 4 and keep repeating. And 4 and in measure 9, we're going to wrap up this first A part with a little lick here starting on the 5th fret of the A string. And this is over an E chord. The E chord is being played in the rhythm. It sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good. Measure 10. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. And then we lead there into measure 11, which is the 2nd A part, and that's where we're going to start stretching out a little bit. Okay, let's take a look at that.